Cassie woke to the rhythmic sh-up of water against the timber hull, a comforting sound which, along with the gentle rocking, had been both her lullaby and morning alarm call for the last few months. But today, the lazy slap of each wave against the side of the narrowboat was accompanied by an intermittent knocking sound, almost as if someone was tentatively rapping their knuckles on the hull, right beside her ear. As she drifted up towards consciousness, her brain strained to identify the sound. It wasn't like that caused by the usual flotsam and jetsam which found its way into the canal overnight. Bags of rubbish, discarded trainers, once even a plastic cold box which had ended up beating a tattoo against her bows. Judging by the light level, it was still before 6 a.m. 3 hours till Cassie's shift at the mortuary. So she turned over, trying to stay in the sleep zone and blot out the extraneous noise. But after 10 minutes of lying there, just waiting for the next knock, 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 she sat up in her bunk, cursing, and pulled a hoodie on over her pajamas. In her flat, she'd always slept naked, but after 5 months living on the boat, with summer fading and the nighttime damp starting to penetrate even her 15-tog duvet, she'd given in and ordered M&S's hottest flannelette gym jams and bed socks. As she emerged in the tiny cockpit in the aft, she'd learned not to call it the back, the chill of a September morning struck her like the flat of a cold hand. She'd always loved the canal in autumn, but now, as she shivered, peering through the blanket of mist lurking above the black-green water, she felt a stab of nostalgia for summer. Even with Camden Town's tourists and trippers who treated her boat like some kind of visitor attraction. Taking the boat hook from the deck, she headed up to the bows of the narrowboat, 10 meters long and moored pointing upstream. Reaching the foredeck on the canal side, she lowered herself down and, keeping one hand firmly around the deck rail, peered down through the shifting skeins of fog that veiled the surface. At that moment, a patch cleared in the mist, and a wavelet washed something rounded, dark and slick against the hull. A split second later, it had retreated out of view, but she didn't need a second look to realize the source of the knocking. It hadn't been made by a discarded trainer, but by the sodden head of a man, face down in the water.